everybody. Happy Monday. What is today? August 24th. Gosh, we're almost to September. I think this is our last week of August, right? My name's Leslie Benson. I am the founder of the Plaid Poodle Paper Crafting Company. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm happy that you have joined us. I'm going to put on my comments here. Hi, Kim. Hi, Carol. Thank you for sharing, Carol. I love when people share. Hope y'all are having a great Monday. There we go. Got to make sure all my ducks are in a row. Today we're going to make a fun card. I don't know if it's hot where you are. It's very hot where we are. So it's kind of hard to get in the winter Christmas spirit. But this is the card we're going to make, which you could design a card for any occasion using different stamp sets. This one just happens to be a winter scene. But I thought it was a fun new way to do a fancy fold. It's similar to a slimline card, but it's a little shorter. I made it so that it would fit into an A2 envelope. I think it is little bit over 3 inches wide, 3.5, maybe 3 5/8 wide by 5.5 inches long. So it will fit in a regular A2 card envelope. Donna, thank you for asking. My mother is on the mend. She's staying with us for a week here. We're trying to get her strength back and make sure she's doing great before she goes back home. So, but thanks for asking. She's doing well. We think we have gotten down to the bottom of some things, so that's awesome. Any news? I am going to share shortly. I'm just not too organized yet, but on September 11th, which is an easy date to remember, I am going to be on Mary Gunn Fun, her Facebook page. It's GUNNFUNN, Mary Gunn Fun. She has a fun, get it, fun, roulette wheel, and it's kind of like we make what the wheel tells us to make that evening, and she's invited me to be a guest contributor, contestant, I don't know what you would call it. And so mark that on your calendars, Friday, September 11th. I think it starts at 6:30 or 7, but I'll give some more information, and it's just on the Facebook. It's easy to go to, and pray for me because I am, you never know what you're going to do. You just have to have some things ready and do what the wheel tells you. So mark that on your calendars. And then there's a Kansas City Croppers group. They are also on the Facebook. I'm not sure what date that is. I'll let you all know on Wednesday. I'll have everything organized. I am doing a just a card class for them. It's going to be live on Facebook on that date. I think my time slot is 10:30 a.m. And if any of you would like to make the card along with us, I would be happy to send you the card kit for that. So I'll announce all of that on Wednesday so I can make sure and add you to the list for the card kit for that. Nothing else in Stampin' Up! News. Don't forget about the August host code. If you place an order of $30 or more with me using the host code during the month of August, your name will go into a drawing for the Flying Home stamp set. That's it. That's all the announcements, I think. This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I will be on a virtual Stampin' Up! Meetings all day. Some kind of leaders summit thing. So if you need to get a hold of me, It's all virtual. I'm here. Just send me a text or something and I can get back to you an email during those days. That's all the business. That's all the business. Let's make the card. There's a lot of die cutting. So, and I didn't do a lot of work ahead of time because I wanted you to make sure to see how I did the folding and the framing and all of that. So I started out with a piece of 11 inches by 5.5. And then I cut off 1/8 of an inch of that 11-inch piece of paper. It just made it easier to fold it into thirds if I cut it down to 10 7/8 instead of leaving it at 11. If you can do math better than me, you could probably use a full 11-inch sheet of paper. So I cut an 11-inch sheet of paper down to 10 7/8 by 5.5. Then we're going to make our score lines. And I'm going to use my scoreboard here. And they are 3 5/8. And once again, once I get my blog post up later today, I'll have all this information over there. And then 7 1/4 on the 10 7/8 inch side. So 3 5/8 and 7 1/4. And then we're going to just fold on those score lines and grab a bone folder. I started to say Mary Gunn Fun, and Mary Gunn joins us here once in a while. I think she calls these chubby slim lines or Slim Jims. I don't know. Slim Jims, I think she calls a slimline card a Slim Jim, and she calls these the chubby slim ones when she makes the shorter, fatter ones. So that is the card base. So we're going to open. That's where we're going to make our windows. I've got 2 windows in here. And to do that, I'm using the Layering Squares framelits, or they're not framelits anymore, they're just the Layering Square dies. And I am using 2 of just the plain old squares to make my windows. And then we're going to make a frame. We're going to follow up and make a frame with the scalloped ones. And I don't know, I think this is the second and third. It's the second and, I don't want to say largest. I will have that in my blog post too, which of these dies I use. But we're going to put a window in the front of the card. I want to get all the die cutting done for us because there is quite a bit. And I didn't do anything ahead because I wanted you to see exactly how I did it. Now, if you're good at eyeballing, you could probably just put your second window in and just run it through one time, your Big Shot or your die cutting machine. But I want to make sure that this window is in the center of the bigger window. So I did it one at a time because I didn't trust myself to eyeball it well enough. So I'm going to grab my die cutting machine. And we're going to cut out this big window. Did you all have a good weekend? We didn't do much. My little, well, I guess he's 5. He'll be 6 on the 5th of September. Started kindergarten today. I think I kind of cried with his mom when I watched the video. She shared a video with me of him walking off into the school. Okay, I'm going to try not. I've got that window in there. Now I'm going to take that smaller square die and just put it so that it's going to be centered right in the middle of that big window. I don't want it to slip, so I'm going to do that. So make sure you're not doing it in the back of the card. Make sure you're doing it in the second layer. I think we have to run this through. We got to do four run-throughs of our die cutting machine here. Okay, so now we have the main window and the little window inside. Okay. Now I'm going to frame that out with, I'm going to use these scalloped squares, which they come with the layering square dies. You get straight edge and scalloped edge. And we're going to also need the straight edge ones to make the frames. Let me show you the sample real quick. See how I framed the squares out? I just thought it looked rather plain without anything. So I am using some Designer Series paper, and it doesn't take very much. Let's see what this is called. I forgot. It's the Heartwarming Hugs Designer Series paper, and I got this paper because it's just a great little background paper. I love when there's small print. And these are all Christmas colors. And they're all small print and stripes. So that's why I ordered this. I just really kind of like to have some small prints to choose from. Is this called Houndstooth? Stripes. Gingham. Just a fun little set. The colors are Real Red, Mossy Meadow, and I think Basic Black. So I kind of pulled my coloring from that. Pear Pizzazz, that's a fun color. Mossy Meadow, Pear Pizzazz, and Real Red. So when I colored my little die cuts, I used the Real Red and the Mossy Meadow. Okay, to make the frames, first we want to cut out, I hope I have enough. This was a little scrap that I had, and I do. First I'm going to cut out the scalloped. These are, the size of these are so that they don't really layer well. If I had used a smaller one and made a bigger frame, I could have run it through one time, if that makes sense. But I just wanted a tiny little frame. A narrow frame. So we're going to run the scallops through first. And now we're going to run, I guess I used this print, put the straight edge centered on there. And as you can see, it's going to just make a very narrow little frame. I just want to make sure those are nice and centered. And I might put a piece of washi on there. It is a magnetic platform, but sometimes. Okay, I think that's all the die cutting for now. So I'm going to put that back there. And then you can save these other little squares for another project. Now we need our card base. And we're just going to lay our frames right over top. It's going to frame out that window. So I'm just using a little multi-purpose liquid glue. My thing there, maybe that'll hold it down. And you could use a fine tip glue pen or something like that. It doesn't take much. So I'm just going to run a very thin layer of the multi-purpose liquid glue on here. For that one. And then we'll do the same for this one. Okay. So that is our card base. So we have a window in the front, and then we open it up, and there's a window. Now, if you wanted to be real fancy, you could also frame out the inside so that when your recipient opened it up, you have a nice frame on the inside. But I did not do that on mine. But you could do that. That would be a special little touch. Okay. The next thing I did, I don't know, it probably doesn't matter. We're going to heat emboss our Sending Warmth Your Way with some white embossing powder. I didn't really show the stamp set, did I? It's the Friesen Fun stamp set. It is on page 69 of your holiday catalog or holiday mini. So cute. Lots of fun little winter scenes, and it comes with a coordinating die set. You save 10% if you order the bundle. Okay, so we're using the Friesen Fun bundle. Sorry about that. I just got to going. Okay, our sentiment, Sending Warmth Your Way. I am going to use some Versamark. And hope I get this straight. I did pretty good on my sample. I was really impressed this morning, so I'm going to try not to get my head in the camera, y'all, but it's a little crooked, but no worries. And I also went a little crazy on the that's how they know it's homemade. That you made your card specifically for them, right? Okay. Now I got a little bit of embossing powder. I have a little paintbrush that I like to use. When I just to get that embossing powder where I don't want it, I'm going to brush that off. Okay, it's going to get loud here with the heat gun. There we go. Not too crooked. I've done worse. Okay, now for this inside layer, this middle layer, I've got the little tree. So we're going to stamp the tree and our little raccoon with Memento ink, and I'm just going to use a scrap of Whisper White, and I'm going to color these with my Stampin' Blends. So isn't he cute? I'm using Memento ink. We have one more stamp to do. And I'm coloring these with, I've got Real Red. I think I used the dark Real Red for his scarf. I used the bronze for the sled, the wood part of his sled. I used the dark Mossy Meadow for the Christmas tree. I used the dark flamingo, Flirty Flamingo, for his little nose. You can see his pink nose. And I used the light and dark Smoky Slate for the raccoon. And that is what I used to color him in. I didn't think, because we had so much die cutting, that you all would want to watch me color today, because it does take a minute to color our little raccoons. So I went ahead and colored them for us ahead of time. And then one more thing we need is our little snowbank. And I don't know if you can see, it has a little stitched area. And in the Freeze and Friends dies, I think it's over here, there's a really big snowbank. So I'm going to cut that out of a piece of 2.5 by 3.5 to fit in the middle. I'm going to put that snowbank right on there and die cut that. And then I used the tree and the raccoon die to cut out my images after I colored them. So that's how I came up with the 3 die cuts. That makes sense? Any questions? I went ahead and colored my snowbank, or cut out my snowbank. And I do want to stamp the "wee" on there. And I'm using the Memento Black ink again for that. Oh, putz. My pressure's off today. I'll see if I can fix that, and I'll show you what I use when I do that sometimes. How I got the little mark from the edge of the stamp. I pressed too hard. Okay, for the little snowflakes surrounding the raccoon, I keep wanting to call him Ricky Raccoon because we had a Ricky Raccoon. My son had a raccoon when he was little, that he was called Ricky Raccoon. So I keep wanting to call this one Ricky Raccoon. I am going to put my snowbank in here. Go ahead and do that so I can kind of determine my placement of everything. And then I took the little snowflake image from the stamp set. I'm going to put my, I'm going to see how I'm going to want him. He's going to go about right there. So I'm just taking some Versamark, and it's just going to leave the very faintest little snowflakes. Some backwards and some sideways. Just doing it randomly. I didn't know if I should use a color because I'm using this crumb cake cardstock. If I had used maybe a gray or a blue for the snowflakes. So I just kind of went for the impression of snowflakes. You can see on this one. And I think they show up nicely. They give a little background. Okay, before I put my little raccoon on there, I want to make sure he is sticking up in the window the way I want him to. I'm going to glue on my little tree. And I want that to be peeking through the front window a little bit. And then my little raccoon, I'm going to put him right on top of that snowbank. I think. So he'll fill up that window. There we go. Just about like that. He's going down the hill. Isn't that cute? Okay, now here's what I use. I think I got this. I don't know where I got this. I think you can get it at an office supply store, maybe a big box craft store, but it's a sand eraser, and maybe you guys know about sand erasers, but sometimes when you have a tiny mistake, you can kind of sand that ink off. But since this is black, and it wasn't a real tiny mistake, well, it's coming off pretty well. It's better than it was. Basically, you're sanding off a layer of the cardstock. And it does work on white pretty good. So if you don't have a sand eraser, sometimes they can save your life. I know they have mechanical ones, and I almost got one, but why? And I got a little adhesive on here. I'm going to use my adhesive remover. But there you can see I kind of got most of it off of there. So that's our card. Now, if you notice that your card isn't closing well, what you can do, I try to really use the bone folder to really burnish that edge. But if you find that maybe this is kind of getting in the way a little bit, you can trim just the tiniest bit off of that edge. Anyway, I just thought that was a cute little new idea for a card. Having the little peek through windows and then using the three panels and making kind of a chubby little slimline, kind of. So thank you, ladies, for joining me today. I will be back Wednesday for Coffee and a Card. And if you have any questions in the meantime, give me email, buzz me, text me, and I'll be happy to get back to you. So we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.